Hello, and welcome to the Todd Tawkins podcast, starring Todd Tawkins, the greatest voice of all time, because he doesn't have a body and just has a voice. Today, we will be addressing the great idea of savagery and how it affects children throughout William Golding's Lord of the Flies, which I didn't read, I just had a crew do it, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, now, in Golding's book, he decided to display the idea that children are just as savages as adults can be, and that was his whole purpose. But then he utilized things like structure, specifically the chronological structure, to boost the idea that there is chaos as it jumps multiple days without any context, so people just have to assume stuff. The jumping of perspective he uses also adds to the idea of disorganization among the groups of boys. Next up, we have word choice. Golding utilizes slang to display the fact that the main characters are still children, and he keeps doing that. But then he also does some darker shifts, like mirroring Hitler in Jack. He acts the same way, he holds a coup, and he still tries to murder his enemies. He also he uses a lot of foreshadowing. When Jack says we're not savages on page 42, he's very much just foreshadowing that the boys are gonna become savages. And the death of the pig, or Lord of the Flies, foreshadows Piggy's death at the hands of the hunters. Also, when the hunters talk about pushing rocks onto people, they foreshadow how they kill Piggy. The use of vague words while describing the beast also helps display the mass hysteria of the boys, as it is revealed that there is no such thing as the beast and it's just a dead body that gets pushed in the wind a little because it has a parachute. All of these ideas add to the tone that Golding displayed, which was a very dark and ominous tone. Because the book was written post-war, its audience was a bunch of people who thought, oh, only adults can cause issues, kids can't. And, well, Golding said, actually, kids are heathens and can. And he made fun of children's books that were popular at the time, such as Coral Island. Golding also tried to get the readers to have a darker mood about the text, and he does it very effectively. There's lots of explanations of how these boys feel, the darkness around them, and the shadows of the choir being quite literally just shadows of savages. It's their darker sides. And he does that to make us feel scared and worried about what's going to happen to these boys while they're on this so-called paradise. Now, the text is somewhat incoherent, but also is pretty coherent, as as he wants it to sound like children are talking and not adults. However, this does work into making a unified text, as the elements just flow and sound natural, like a talking person, rather than a scholar writing. It's not a scholarly report, it's a work of fiction that could act as a scholarly report. Now, thank you for listening to Todd Tawkins. Please tip your waiter, and thank you.